Hello, beautiful people. I don't know if I'm on yet, but I'm thinking I'm going on. There's a little blue circle spinning. Oh my goodness. It's happening. Yay! Finally! Finally, it is time. Now, I also hope I'm in the right place. Hello, Graciele. Um, what an amazing pleasure it is to be with you all. Cannot tell you, I have been looking forward to this and for a while, ever since the idea came into my head. And as a lot of you may or may not, a lot of you are like, what are we doing? Exactly. This is going to be an adventure. This is going to be an exploration with all of us. And so please know that you being here is a massive contribution that I am extremely grateful for. And your willingness to perceive the beauty of this planet and recognize that we have something dynamic to contribute is an amazing gift. So, one of the things I will be using, I hope you all saw the post that said, please watch the clearing statement video, because I know there are many of you who may not even have done any access consciousness, and welcome. This is not about access consciousness. This is not about me. This is not about you. This is about we, and this is about the we that we can be when we come together with a request and a demand in our world for something different and greater, and also the inspiration, hopefully, and the motivation to know that you can actually have those requests fulfilled. And it's interesting because if you look throughout history, major changes across the planet were instituted when enough people said, enough of what's been going on, enough of what we've been doing, we need something different. So this is my call to you, and my invitation to you, my request to you. Let us be something different for this beautiful planet, and as we walk upon this beautiful planet. And hopefully, we will laugh a lot and have a good time. This particular one, this first Facebook Live, is going to be me sort of giving you a little bit of information about what we're going to be doing, and hopefully inspiring you to know that you truly are a contribution. Because this is one of the things that is so difficult for us to get sometimes. I mean, we have 8 billion people on the planet. We have a really big planet. And you look at your cute little body and you're like, but how can I be a contribution? Except those of us that know that this planet exists, those of us that have gratitude that this planet exists, those of us who have gratitude for the uniqueness this beautiful spinning blue ball is in the universe, are those that actually have the capacity to contribute to the planet what it requires, to contribute to each other what we require, to truly create a change. And for me, I'm one of those people who wants to give everything in the first 5 minutes, because I'm just like that. It's the way I like everything in my life. I'm like, come on, let's do more. Okay, let's get it all, and then let's do more, and then let's be more. And I'm going to resist that temptation and resist that urge, and hopefully give you enough so that you can leave this live with a sense of being more alive, and see what shows up for you over the several weeks that we have planned so far for this, and be able to go out in the world and live in a way that's actually in communion with the earth, and that allows you to perceive the beauty around you, that allows you to get a sense of the gifts that are all around us that we don't often acknowledge. Here we are living these modern lives, quote unquote, and thank you for the comments on the shirt, by the way. This is my Earth Wizard Day 1 shirt, just so you know, just my official Earth Wizard Day 1 shirt. And ooh, I like that. I had a dream. We all got together energetically, and we were all standing together in places on the planet that had trauma, and we all healed those places at the same time together. It was very cool. I think we should do it. So do I. And while we're at it, my Backyard is getting cleaned up, so I may shut the blind. Um, but really, it's like here we are living these lives that are so seldom where we even get a moment to be able to just like take a breath and look around. And that's what I'd like to invite you to is, and especially, so two things. By the way, I have ADD, ADHD, OCD, and autism all rolled into one. So I always have like 8,000 things in my head that want to be said, and I go from one shiny thing to the next. So I apologize. And just so you know, and hopefully you can bear with me on that too. But so two things. One is we live these lives that seem so busy. Now, of course, since the Corona deal, many people have had a sense of being able to slow down, but still their mind is going like crazy. And that's one thing. And then the other thing is we're conditioned not to notice the small things that are really where the beauty lies in life. Like, for example, these plants, I got one here and I got one here. And for me, it's like every day I look at them and I'm like, hello, beautiful plants. And they're like, hello, Dain, you know? And the thing is, excuse me, the thing is, all of nature is communicating all the time. Nature doesn't separate. Nature doesn't, oh, I have that fan sound. Darn. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to change the audio. I can do one other thing though. Give me a moment, and I'm gonna try. Oh, no. Unfortunately, I don't quite know what to do about the fan sound. So sorry, guys. The sound may suck for this first live. I apologize. Just because it is my computer fan being noisy and fanning itself. I'm gonna try that, see if it helps. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. Hold a moment. I'll be right back. I will just continue talking at you from far away in the meantime. So, just hold on to what you were doing. I'll be right there. I'm almost back already. Almost. Okay, coming back. You have to let me know if it sounds any better when I do this. Okay, this may be my new sound solution. Hold a moment and tell me, somebody. Okay, did the sound get any better or did I go away? Let's see what happened here. Oh, okay. Just reading a few of the comments. Yep, buying into the pandemic fear and considering canceling my travel and staying home. Yeah, you could. That is one choice. I've been pulling the healing energy of Mother Earth the last couple of days by imagining being inside the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. It's a beautiful, pure energy. Cool. Thank you for shutting. And are you shutting? Shouting? I don't know. Yes, I was shouting. I was trying to talk to you. Okay. I contribute to the earth and receive from this earth, and I have acknowledged the capacity with the earth. I never felt this communion. Awesome. That is great. Yes, it is cooling itself down. Okay, is the sound good now? Okay. Apparently. Okay, good. Okay, cool. God, what a great gift it is to be with you all. So I will continue my conversation in just a moment. What I'd like to do for just a moment is let's just have a moment and breathe, because there's so much that we're aware of that is possible, and so much that we can allow ourselves to choose and be. And sometimes it's such a gift to be with a group of people that it's just willing to be here present together. Okay, and one of the things that I will be doing, and I'm only mentioning it so that you can allow more of it, if you would. What I'd like you, one of the things that I do is this thing called ESB, energetic synthesis of being, and it started in the form of working on people energetically on a table 20 years ago, and it expanded to where I realized I could contribute to basically any number of people and the earth itself. And so, will you do me a favor? Will you let that in, whatever that energy is? And it's not my energy, it's our energy, it's the universe's energy. And um, the there's this amazing space that is available of being alive. And I mean, think about what it's like when you go out in nature. After you finally sort of decompress a little bit, after 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, or maybe 3 minutes for some of you, where you get to decompress. What's it like? And what an amazing gift. Well, what if we could be that energy too? What if the reason it feels so wonderful to go out in nature is because it's showing us, and it's showing us what is truly wonderful about us also. So I'm going to start using the clearing statement right now, and you'll see how this works as we go along. But take something like that, for example. When I say, what if it's showing you the beauty of you, and you're like, oh yeah, that. And then also what goes with it is, oh yeah, that, but. There's all kinds of buts in there. Basically, this clears out the butts out of your life. Okay, that doesn't mean people walk around without butts. That means you walk around without the butts in your head. And it's a way of changing, even when you don't know what is required to change in order to change it. It's one of the beautiful gifts of the universe it's a way of changing anything that you ask to change. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, to know, to receive, and to be the awareness of the gift that you are and the wonderfulness of you that nature shows you, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And the destroy part is undo the structure of that you've been holding in your life. And uncreate is take your creative energy out of creating those walls around you that keep you in, so you can have the creative energy to be more spacious in your entire life. So as I was saying before, and if you would also, would you do me a favor and lower the walls and barriers even more? Even more? Even more? Even more? Thank you. And I love some of the questions you all are putting, and thank you for the comment about liking this energy. And me too. It's like, I love to get to be this energy. What if you loved, just absolutely adored and loved and just got to love being the energy of you? Well, this is one of the things that I see as possible. And this is also one of the things that I perceive is one of the great gifts that we can be walking around the world. I mean, if you look at it, how many people truly get to be them? So many people are going around trying to find them, trying to find where they fit, trying to find how they fit, finding that they don't fit, and then they're wrong because they don't fit, rather than recognizing that all those places and spaces where you don't fit are the places where you're so different that you are a gift to the world. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, to know, to be, and receive the gift to the world you truly be, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, so there are like a billion things. One of the things I do when I facilitate, and I consider this a form of facilitating, when I facilitate, when I contribute, when I talk to people, what I do is I look into your world and see what's there and what I can speak to that is the closest thing that can be opened up. Because part of the reason I wanted to do this group is to keep opening different spaces of being, to keep opening different awarenesses of the beauty of the planet and the communion with that beauty that we all are. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter whether you live in the East, whether you live in the West, the North, or the South. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your spiritual points of view are. It doesn't matter what your political points of view are. What I'd like to do in this is be that which is beyond all of that. Because let's face it, we have been taught to separate from other people. We've been taught to separate from ourselves. We've been taught that separation is real and true, but it's not for the earth. The earth is there gifting all the time. It never has a judgment of anything any of us chooses. It doesn't even have a judgment of the fact that we're polluting things and not truly creating a sustainable living. And it's just like, I'm here and I will contribute to you whenever I can, however I can, whatever way you're willing to receive. And that's the earth's point of view. What if that was more like our point of view also? Everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I heard the earth whisper to me saying, you are a gift to the earth. Yep, that. And that's the thing. And then another question, what will it take to be me in nature and have the same being when I'm on the job? That's a choice. And I gotta say, it's not necessarily the easiest choice to make. I wish it were. And if I have my way, the world is going to be different in a month. Okay? And you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And truly, if I have my way, what we're going to do and be in the world is going to shift things to create a world that is way more in communion with the planet. If every one of you stepped up and claimed the potency and the power you actually have available, and it's not the power of this reality, it's not power over, it's not like the power to beat people up and your anger and your separation, that's not power, that's weakness. Okay? But if all of us claimed and owned the power of us, the power of our kindness, the power of our joy, the power of our difference, the power of our inclusion, the power of our awareness of what is truly possible, that target that I have is actually possible. How do I know? Well, when Corona started, I did this 14-day program with people that ended up being about 21 days. But I got together with them every single day and did a Facebook Live and tapped into their energy and looked at what I could do to open up each person's energy. And we had several thousand people on that. And the earth and all of us felt different afterwards. We walked through the world with more peace, with more sense of communion, with more sense of joy, with more sense of gratitude, with less of the trauma and drama that everybody else is doing. And so I know it's possible. My only question to you is, will you please receive it? And will you ask right now, what can I be to be that? And what can I change in my life and my points of view that would allow me to be the gift to the earth and the world and my own living that I came here to be? Everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm going to give that one to you one more time because hold a moment, gotta find it. Okay. So what can you be to be that, and what can you change in your life and your points of view that would allow you to be the gift to the earth and the world and your own living that you came here to be? Everything that doesn't allow you to perceive that, know that, receive that, and be that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And also, what gift are you that you have not been acknowledging? And what gift are you that you were told that you were not from people who couldn't see the gift and you bought it? Everything that is, will you destroy it and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so you see how I'm using this clearing statement, and I will be doing this all the way through, and Sometimes I say it and people look at me like dogs watching television. And sometimes I'll be in a private session and I'll say, okay, do you want me to explain these words to you, or do you just want me to use them so we can create as much change as fast as possible? And they're like, just use them. And after about 3 or 4 times, I go, what are you saying? And basically, it's about asking the consciousness of you, which is, if you want to call it the divine you, the whatever, but that's actually what I see as the you, the real you, to go back to wherever you created a limitation and ask it to dissolve. Because the consciousness of you desires more consciousness. And by the way, my definition of consciousness, which is, shall we say, access consciousness definition of consciousness, is where everything and everyone exists and no one and nothing is judged. Where everything and everyone exists and no one and nothing is judged. That's what I would invite you to. If I could have one target out of this, it would be to be living in a world where everything and everyone exists and no one and nothing is judged. And that has some far-reaching ramifications in that one little sentence. And so there's a lot. And I tell you, my level of like, I want to give this all to you now. But we've got to start here. We've got to start here today. And basically what I'm trying to do today is get us started with basically a baseline of energy and a baseline of awareness and a sense of possibilities. And also just know that I just want you to know you're all invited, you're all included. I know you're here, right? I get that. But the way we humanoids, the seekers of the world, the way we tend to function, those of you guys on this thing is, we never feel like we're a part of any group. Why? Because we're so friggin' different. And we don't do well in groups. I don't do well in groups. We don't fit in groups. But this is a group where it's not about fitting. It's about being everything you are. Okay? And I don't mean that in a airy-fairy way. I mean it in a really practical way, like being what you actually are as a being what you came here to be. So my next question is, what is it you came here to be that you've been judging yourself for not being, that now is the time to choose to be? Everything that is, times a godzillion. Will you destroy it and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So what is it you came here to be that you have not yet been choosing to be, that you've been judging you for not being? Everything that is, times a godzillion. Will you destroy it and create it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you for the thank yous. And thank you for those of you who are going, I'm going, let's do this thing. So what is it you came here to be that you've been judging yourself for not being, that now is the time to choose to be? Everything that is, times a godzillion. Will you destroy it and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. So, what I was saying is, in the busyness of life, in all these different ways, we've learned to be way more in our phones than we are present with the flowers around us. And then we know it, but we can't seem to get out of it. Well, here's what I'd invite you to do, is stop judging you for it. Stop making you wrong for all the things you know you're supposed to do that you haven't been doing. And I have another word for you that I would like to run through your head, at least until tomorrow, because let's face it, if it runs through your head until tomorrow, that'll be a bloody miracle, okay? Because most of you are like me. 10 seconds from now, you're going to be like, what was that word he said? I know the word, but what was that word he said? Because that's the way we are, but that's part of a gift of us also, is that we're able to handle so many things. It's an amazing gift. And yet we tend to look at the wrongness of it somehow, except what if that's a gift too? Remember consciousness, where everything exists and nothing is judged. So the word I'd like you to have in your world would be relax and relaxation. Okay? I don't know if you've ever been under a waterfall, but it is an exhilaratingly phenomenal and very relaxing experience. You get under the water and it is just, and it almost hurts. It's so intense having that massive amount of water, and it's continuous. And you sit there, and usually, your head's back behind the water a little bit, and it's so intensely, joyfully relaxing. And you get out, and you're like, oh, I'm more relaxed than I've been in years. Well, and you could talk about all the reasons for that, but I just wanted to point out that even in the hustle and bustle, if you choose to relax, there's a totally different possibility available. Okay? And so I just like that word relax or relaxation. You could just sort of tap into that a few times between now and tomorrow. That would be really wonderful. And yes, I wish I found Access when I was a kid too. Oh, goodness. I look at that and I'm like, the kids that come to Access. Let me tell you a story. This one little girl, she's 8 or 9, and she was on Zoom. They were doing school from home, so she's on Zoom, and they have this test that they do in public in front of everybody else. And the first few people, the teacher was just tearing them apart, and the teacher was apparently in a cranky mood. Well, we have this tool in Access that is about energy pulls, like equalizing the energy. Like you pull energy from somebody who has a barrier up, and it allows that barrier to come down, and then there's a connection, and then you equalize the flow energetically. So this 8-9-year-old girl did that, and then her turn was, and she saw what was happening. She saw exactly what was going on. Because one thing about Access kids is they're very aware of energy, and they're very aware of when somebody's being cranky and when they're not. But the difference with most Access kids is they realize that they can do something to change it most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And so she did this energy pull thing. She started pulling energy from the teacher and let a little flow go back to her. And the teacher got to her, and the teacher was so nice, where she had been mean to everybody else, gave her an A, told her she did such an amazing job. And then she went on to all the other kids and gave them all low grades. I'm like, wow. Now, some of you hear that, you're like, that's manipulation. It's actually using energy to create a connection. Because when people feel connected to you, they want to contribute to you. And this is part of what we have in the world we live in right now, is people don't feel connected to other people, and they don't want to contribute to them. So it's part of why I asked you, in acknowledging this ESB energy that I am desiring to gift into your world. And once again, it's not my energy. And by the way, this Earth Wizards thing isn't my thing. I'm just the mouthpiece for it, okay? This is our thing. I just knew that with the amazing group of creators that I work with, we could actually put it together and get people here. So again, I thank you for being here. And also, I have to say a big thank you to the amazing creative people that I work with. You guys are beyond phenomenal. So, as I was saying, we have a bunch of us in the world, like most of the world, they walk around in their own little bubble, and that's also what keeps us from perceiving the beauty of the plants, and the beauty of the animals, and the beauty of the earth. And yet, when we go out in nature, we sort of let that down, and then we have this sense of more expansiveness and more space. And I know some people who go out in nature and get terrified because they're afraid to have that much space. But this is the beginning, if we would do that, of lowering our walls and barriers. And just reach out energetically. So right now, here's what I'd like you to do. Just whatever you have to do to push down the walls and barriers. And a lot of you are like, but I don't have walls and barriers. Okay, cool. Then push down whatever it is, or ask to melt whatever it is that doesn't allow you to be a lot more space right now. Okay? Cool. Seems like it's already occurring for most of you. And by the way, some of you think you don't get energetic stuff. Can I tell you? So did I. Oh my God. I really thought I didn't get energetic stuff. And it's really funny because it's everything that I do, okay, with everything now. But I thought I didn't get it at all. And what I realized was, when I was younger and I was doing spiritual stuff and energetic stuff, what would happen is I would get it so fast that as soon as they were going to walk me through like a visualization or something, I would go there instantly to the energy, because I could perceive in the person's head where they were trying to take us. And I just went, oh, there. I didn't know this at the time, though. All I thought was I was wrong, because what happens is when you go there and get it instantly, you can't then go and walk that path again and do it, because you've already done it. You can't do the same thing twice. You can't do something you've already done. And so I thought I didn't get energy. A lot of you may think you didn't get energy, and some of you may be wondering, why the heck is he talking about energy? Except that's how the earth functions. That's how it gives to us. The earth doesn't talk in words. The earth speaks in energy. Oh, by the way, so do our bodies. Our bodies don't talk in words. Our bodies talk in energy. And when it can't communicate energetically over a long enough time, then it gives you pain, because it knows that's the one thing you won't ignore. And by the time you get to pain, you've been ignoring something, or your body's been trying to tell you something for a long time usually. So everything that brought up, and everything that does not allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive the beautiful gift that you are, and the energetic awareness you have, where you destroy it and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and young. I love it. There's such a kindness and joy bubbling in my heart. Thank you for our we space. Thank you. And I apologize. There's lots of comments that I have missed. So, excuse me. So what I'm going to ask you to do, pardon me, I'm going to take a drink. My mom got me this cup. I don't know if you can read it, but let's see. Yeah, it's shining from the light. It says, unicorns get thirsty too. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes really thirsty. Okay, so the thing of allowing whatever you have around you to keep the world out or keep you in, because some of you are keeping the world out because you're like, I'm afraid of the world. Some of you actually have those walls and barriers up because you're afraid of hurting the world. Some of you have it for both, which is interesting, right? And remember, our limitations are not logical. They're not logical. They're just choices that we've made, okay? Everything that is, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, if you'll allow those to melt, or lower them, even just for a little bit, and now what I'd like you to do is I'd just like you to look at something that's beautiful in your room, or, you know, whatever room you're in, or maybe you're outside right now, and just sort of like look at it with sort of soft focus, and just ask to kind of have a connection with it. And I know for some of you this is like, well, really simple, and maybe for a lot of you, I kind of hope it is actually. But what I want to point out is, it's in that first moment that you like have this sort of soft look at it. It's in that first moment where you just kind of tap into it, that you receive whatever is there. It's in that like fleeting moment before you can even think. And then what we've been taught to do is that we somehow need to define it in order to have it. But what I'm going to suggest, and what I'm going to ask you to play with between now and tomorrow, is not defining it. Like for me, I've got, I don't know, 8 things over there on my mantle, and each of them is a beautiful thing that I love because they're wonderful. It's like you could almost sit and talk to them. They have that much presence, and so what I'm doing is I just look over at them and I just kind of tap in like, hi. And in that moment, there's an energy that is contributed. And so part of what I'm going to ask you to do is actually play with this thing of either lowering your walls and barriers, pushing them down. And you may not perceive them as walls and barriers. I'm using that as sort of a generic term. And hopefully that helps. Whatever it is that keeps you in or keeps the world out, or both simultaneously. I'd like you to just practice melting them or pushing them down just a couple times a day maybe. And now what I'd like you to do, since a lot of you are sort of being that space, which is really friggin' wonderful, and this from my point of view is part of the beauty of being alive. Like being able to be this space that's kind of, for me, it's like childlike wonder. You know, I tell people, you know, they're like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm kind of like a big 6-year-old, you know? And I'm a 6-year-old in a 50-year-old body that looks 30. Let's just go with that looks 30 thing, okay? Just between us, just... Okay. that's one of the greatest gifts of being alive for me, is being able, like, to be that space where everything is got this sense of wonder to it. And this is something that we can just choose if we will. And hopefully something in what I'm talking about is reminding you of that, because that's actually you. That's and it'll be different all the time. It's not always just sort of like, oh boy, oh my goodness, you know. And from that space, what's interesting is you get a lot more done, which is really funny, because people like, I must focus to get things done. Actually, when you expand the focus and actually take it out of focus and allow it to be broad-banded and lower those walls and barriers and expand out more, what happens is energetically what you do is you become aware of other things that you can do and other people that can help and other things that will contribute to help make whatever you're trying to create come to fruition a lot easier. Now, all of these things are actually also how the earth functions. So as I was starting to say before I went on my slight tangent, which wasn't really a tangent but was sort of a tangent, is if you lower the walls and barriers and let them melt, what I'd like you to do now is just sort of expand out and down into the earth a little bit. And it doesn't have to be a big significance, like literally that fast is how it happens. And what you may notice, well, you'll notice what you notice. One of the things I tend to notice, and a lot of people do, is a sense of more space and more peace. And so expand out as far as you might like. It might be, I don't know, 10 feet. For some of you, it might be 100 feet. It might be a mile. It might be 10. It might be 1,000. It might be 25,000, which is roughly the size of this big blue ball. Maybe 100,000. Who knows? But expand out. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to just notice this subtle vibration that is actually, I kind of call it like the heartbeat of the earth. Yeah. See, when we're actually being us with our bodies, we kind of follow the heartbeat of the earth. We're in synchronicity. We're synchronized. Is that the word? Yeah. Synchronized. And I don't want to put a big significance on that either. And there are lots of things that go into that way more than I want to. I just want to acknowledge it and acknowledge that that is actually us. So everything that doesn't lie to perceive, know, be, and receive. The heartbeat of the earth that you are and that your body is. And just have an ease, just asking for it. We destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, and by the way, my hands move when the energy moves, so that's just one of those things that happens. Okay, somebody mentioned they were listening with their feet in the grass. That is one of the other things I highly, highly recommend, is going out, putting your feet in the grass. And there's one of the videos is the earthing video that I think is available on YouTube. And it talks about how people have healed things in their body by walking on the earth barefoot, because there's such a dynamically nurturing, gifting energy with the earth. So one of the other things I'd ask you to do between now and tomorrow is just walk outside with your little barefoots. And it can be on concrete. There's earth there too, okay? And concrete came from the earth also. And we tend to think concrete, isn't as conscious as carpet or something, but in actuality, if you look at it, everything that's on the earth, all that stuff that makes up our houses and our floors and all that stuff, actually initially came from the earth. So, to whatever degree we can get over our judgment, to whatever degree we can get over our significance, to whatever degree we can get over our right and wrong, we become a gift of change and possibilities for everybody on this planet. So there's a lot more about that to talk about and go into, but let me just say, another thing about this group for me is this is about inviting possibilities, not fighting against all the insanity that we see, because we all see it. And certain people see it so dynamically that they get swallowed up by it, and then they're very ineffectual in doing anything except except spouting the insanity. And I get it, and I get that you're connected to it, and we'll talk some more later about some different ways of handling some of this stuff, because part of this also is, as magical as this can be, it's also got to be practical. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. And once again, my target, Access Consciousness's target, is to create a sustainable living earth for at least the next 10,000 years. And so, but if what you do is only kind of like magical in your mind, but it doesn't practically create a sense of being different, it's not really sustainable. Like, one of the things about Access Consciousness is a lot of people, they love the tools and they use them, and it takes them a while to realize that Access Consciousness is not about Access Consciousness. It's not about perpetuating Access Consciousness. Access Consciousness is about giving you the tools and the inspiration sometimes for the possibilities and the awareness of how you can do and create things to actually live a life that you love, and a life that contributes energetically to the entire world. And so that's why I say it's while these spaces are truly magical, and you can change your vibe in a moment just by remembering it, or like recalling this live, for example, if it's shifting your vibe, so to speak, if it's making you lighter. Excuse me, sorry about that. You can change your vibe in a moment, and notice how different you are when you do. That's practical. It's magical and it's practical. And so a couple things I want to cover before I finish. And I really, for this particular one, I just wanted to get on and introduce myself energetically, basically, and introduce the energy that I perceived was just part of the possibility for what this can be, and what it turns into and what it shows up as is going to be a dynamic function of you guys and what you choose to open up to energetically, because I'm not the leader. I'm sort of like a dance partner, okay, with a few thousand people at this point. What would it take to have 10 or 20 times more people on? 10 or 20? Could you imagine if we had a few 100,000 people that would even consider opening up and embracing this beautiful possibility for how we can work together, and be together, and get over our judgments and our separations and our rejections of each other and ourselves? We had a few 100,000 people. How much fun could that be? Now, I'm not limiting the fact of, or diminishing how many people we have. I'm so grateful for all of you. I just like to put in your head the ask for more, because I know that together, when we ask, we receive. So part of my target over the course of this, oh, cool. Thank you for explaining and showing how to let down your walls and connect with things around me with energy just now, with your energy, with trees and things that were gifts from people in my house. Tears are streaming. So much love. Awesome. Yay. Whew. Okay, things are passing me by rather dynamically, comment-wise. So I was in the middle of a sentence when I read that, and then my sentence left my head. Darn it. Okay, so if we see, what we don't realize, what we keep thinking, is that somehow, in order to create the change we desire, whether it's in our lives or somebody else's or the world, there's always something outside of us, something that we're not yet, something that one day we could be if we work really, 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 really hard. But one day I will finally have it, and I have been working my entire life, but I still don't have it, but I know one day I will get it, but I know it's out there, not here. What if that's the greatest lie that you've ever bought? So everything you've done to buy the lie that you don't already have what you require to be the change for the earth, but also the change for yourself and the change for your life. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Woo! Oh, baby. Wow. Okay, so one more time. Everything you've done to buy all the lies and all the projections and all the judgments that people have, and everywhere is just a thing in the world, especially with the seekers of the world like you all, that what you desire, what you require, what you really need is somehow outside of you, which is one of the greatest lies you've ever bought. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and yawns. Yay! My anxiety has disappeared. Awesome. Oh, I love your energy you're giving us right now. It's incredible. Thank you. So glad you're receiving it. Like, really. And this is one of the other things I'd like to talk about more as we go along, is that we each have the capacity to be a gift for other people. It's just that it's so seldom been received by people because we live on a planet with people in these shells. And so you're like, I want to be a gift. Hello. You know, from the time you came in with your parents, most of us, it's like, hi, I'm here to be a gift and show you that you could be happy. And I know that the world could be a totally different place. And I'm wonderful and you're wonderful. And once you see how wonderful I am and you receive everything I got to give you, you're going to get happy and then you're going to stop suffering. And I came here to make you happy. And then you try it and it doesn't work. And then you decide that you must be wrong. So you join them instead of keeping that childlike wonder. So everything you did to give up your childlike wonder, which is actually the gift you are to the earth, and the gift you are to you, and the gift you are to your body, and the gift you are to all of us. And it's not the only gift, but having that and viewing the world through the eyes of a child, through the wonderful eyes of a child, the eyes of childlike wonder, is one of the greatest wonderful things, because you're always in question and always looking for possibilities and expecting things to get greater and looking for them to get greater. And when you look for them to get greater, guess what happens? They get greater. So everything you've done to give up hope, everything you did to believe, everything you did to I love it. Somebody's turning off my lights. Alexa, turn on Dain's room. That's awesome. Okay, it's back. Everything you did to give up hope, and everything you did to join the people in and make your own walls and barriers like they have, because you realized that for some reason they wouldn't change like you knew, and they wouldn't open up like this. So you were like, okay, I'll go there and I'll do what you do. Like, you know, we say in English, if you can't beat them, join them. And so everywhere you couldn't beat them, so you joined them. We now rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate everything that you aligned and agreed with and resisted and reacted to give up the childlike wonder, to give up the joy, to give up the magic, to give up the ease, and to give up the sense of being able to change things magically and not have to walk around in a little shell. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I love it. This is big energy. I feel it in my teeth. And yep, everything around us is coming from the earth. Okay. So, could you imagine a world of people walking around with childlike wonder? Now, when I say that, some people go, yeah, but we don't want children running the world. No, we don't. But what if you could have the best of both worlds? What if you could have all the experience that you've gained, all the awareness you've gained from all of your years on the planet, and still have childlike wonder? What would that be like? Because we think the older we get, the more cranky and the more cynical and the more all that sort of stuff we need to get. But what if your childlike wonder is a gift? And what if it doesn't stop you from creating and taking things seriously? What if you just take it, acknowledge it, but are willing to be such a different space with it that it can change way faster? Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine choice was. Oh, yay. Thank you. I'd forgotten. been caught up in so much chaos lately. I feel like I have a chest full of granite. Thank you for chipping away at it. So needed. Ah, you're so welcome. Thank you for receiving it. Ah. And one other question I'd like you to ask is, what gift can I be for the world today? What gift can I be for the world today? What can I be today to create a sustainable living earth indefinitely? And then, I love it, my Alexa answered your question. You're welcome. Lights go on around the world. And she can't find my room. Oh, that's too funny. And one of the questions that maybe a lot of you have heard, or maybe not, one of the questions I started asking every day is, Earth, what contribution can I be to you? So let's all ask right now. Earth, what contribution can we be to you? And for me, I and we is the same. Like they both go together in this particular moment with all of us, which is really friggin' cool, because it's an interesting energy that I was not sort of expecting. Okay. And I don't know about you, but for me, my hands go out like this, which is an indication of the energy kind of going, woo. So Earth, what contribution can we be to you? Oh, baby. Now, what happens for me 99% of the time when I ask that question, and I ask that question almost every day, I remember to ask that question, is an energy influx, which is kind of like the earth going, receive this, please. See, one of the things you may not realize is you're receiving of the earth, and what it is and what it gives is an amazing contribution to the earth. Because if you look at it, we live on a planet where most of the people only want to use and take from the earth. Even people that live in beautiful places, they notice the view for a few times, and they notice it because it's so special that they have that view that other people don't, and then they're numb to it. And other people come over and go, oh my God, what an amazing view, and they go, yeah. That's not receiving. And a lot of people function from that place, and we could acknowledge that. Okay, fine. Guess what? That's a lot of people. Okay, fine. Let's stop concerning ourselves with that lot of people and what they're doing and what they're not doing and how we should change what they're doing. We should really, the only person you can change what they're doing is you. At a certain point, if we allow ourselves to become potent enough, in communion with Earth enough, and strong enough, we can ask for things that affect the entire planet. When the Gulf oil spill occurred, we sent an email out to everybody in the Access database, and Gary and I asked every single day, can we contribute to changing this? We asked for like 81 or 82 days or something in a row, and then one day we got a yes. That happened to be the day they capped the well, in that oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico several years ago. That Deepwater Horizon, I think, was the one. And it was interesting to get that we could do something, and I was grateful. So we sent an email out to everybody in the Access database. We had a lot fewer people on our database at that point, but we asked them to just contribute their energy at a particular time on a particular day to ending the ecological devastation in the Gulf. 3 days later, in the New York Times, they said that oil was disappearing at a far faster rate than anybody had ever expected or seen it disappear in the past. 3 days after that, the New York Times had this tiny article that said that bacteria that used to be on the bottom of the ocean were now at the surface eating this oil. Was that us that did it? Or maybe the bacteria just needed some energy to get set free? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? The point is, change on a much larger scale is possible if we're willing to know it's possible. But one other thing about the changes like that, the only change that you can ask for like that and actually create is one that creates more consciousness. Because consciousness is, I mean, Einstein said every molecule has consciousness. So all of your molecules, all of Earth's molecules, all of our molecules, and they're always interacting all the time. And we act like we're somehow, once again, in these separate bubbles. But I hope we've done something to start melting the necessity of that bubble. There's so much more to talk about, but if you'll ask Earth, what contribution can I be to you? You may notice an influx of energy. And then another question I ask is universe, show me something beautiful and miraculous today. And it always shows up. One of the other concepts I'd like to give you really quick, and then I'd like to talk about a couple of things with the movies, and we'll be together again tomorrow. So, one of the other, well, we'll talk about that later. A little bigger concept than I can get into in the next couple minutes. Okay, so as far as the movies go, hopefully you've watched one or two, or maybe three, or maybe all of them. And the reason I chose those particular movies is because inherent in all of them is a sense of hope and a sense of possibilities. And because when I watched the David Attenborough documentary, A Life on Our Planet, you know, it starts out with the beginning, and I know this story. I watched so many nature films and documentaries because I love them. And by the way, Our Planet, Blue Planet, Our Planet 2, anything with David Attenborough is just phenomenal, and I believe a lot of you probably feel the same way. But I was inspired after watching this, and at the same time, just before I saw it, I had been facilitating, and when I facilitate, my desire is to gift as much as I possibly friggin' can. And some of you have been in classes with me know that. You're like, can we go home now? It's like 9:30 at night. I'm like, no, more. I changed that part of it. Okay, I realize there's only so much that can be given in a short period of time, but always it's more. And so what that requires of me is to become bigger in my awareness, bigger in what I can deliver, bigger in what I know is possible. And that's a constant demand I have of myself. Well, the way this Earth Wizards thing came about was, it was one night after facilitating where I felt like my whole universe exploded into something larger. And I saw these miracles occur with the people in class, and I saw things they had been asking for years, and I could facilitate them, and it opened up, and I could tell they were actually going to have it. And I was like, whoa, I wanted to do this forever. So it was like, for me, having that occur is like being this little kid who like gets the magic wand and it actually works, you know what I mean? And so I had that, and then I watched that documentary later that night, and the combination of me having a sense of way different possibilities and the hope that show inspired, I was like, let us do this with as many people who want to go on this journey. So that's sort of a bit of the energetics of how it started. But what I know, guys, is we together can change anything. What it requires of us, though, is to step into what is truly our potency and truly our capacities, and to get over the time frame also. Because we'll ask for change today, and if it doesn't occur by tomorrow, we're like, oh, I failed. No, you haven't. The universe takes time to rearrange itself, especially if it's arranging itself on a global scale. Sometimes that takes a little longer time than you would hope it would. Excuse me. Unicorns get thirsty too. Okay, so other than that, I really like the David Attenborough one, Kiss the Ground, My Octopus Teacher. I mean, you know all the titles. You have them all there. Sure. Thank you. Not right now, but thank you. Later? Thank you. I'm getting offered pizza. Gary knows. Thank you. But I just, each one of those has this sense of inspiration, a sense of like, okay, And like if you watched Forest Man, I forgot that that was the one that I had seen, and I was like, what is this one? Um, where one guy single-handedly plants an entire forest in India. Like, what? Just because he loves it and he knows that he can do it. And my question is, how easy and fun could the change be that you know is possible? Everything that doesn't allow it, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, if animals and birds can know when a tsunami is coming 3 days before, we can contribute energetically to anything. Yes. Not only do animals and birds know when a tsunami is coming 3 days before, there's this one called Connected on Netflix, and I only watched the first episode because it wasn't what I thought. But there are these birds that they tracked from Delaware, somewhere in the eastern United States, and they would go away, they'd go south for the winter somewhere, and then they would come back. And they noticed that they would go within like a 3 month period, and they didn't know why. Well, first they tracked them and they found that they went to Brazil, like 2,000, 3,000 miles or something. 4,000 miles, it's a long way. And they had no idea why. Sometimes they would like leave in April or May or later, I guess. I don't remember. That was probably coming back. But there was this 3 months period of time, 3 month span of time where they would leave differently each year. And so what they found after doing all this research was that the birds knew when it was going to be a bad hurricane season. And in the years where it's going to be a bad hurricane season in the Gulf of Mexico, which is what they were flying over, or in the Atlantic also, they would fly early, sometimes months early, because they knew. This is just part of the intelligence that nature has. Now, at this point, you may notice you feel like you may notice you feel like you've had an energetic workout at this point. Okay? And you may be like, some of you may start feeling really tired. Some of you may be like, I need a Coke. Please, if your body wants sugar, salt, or water, be kind and give it to it. Indulge, but refine. Okay? And so it may be that your body requires that, and your body may have just gotten to, or maybe not just, but starting actually to get to a space of relaxation. Remember I said the word I was going to ask you to keep in your world between now and tomorrow? Relax and relaxation. And please, maybe you just got there. Because we can actually relax into the change that we're here to create. So last thing is we roughly organized the segments of this Earth Wizards thing in weeks. And please realize this was just birthed from that I talked to you about, and getting together with these amazing creative people. I'm like, I want to do something, and they're like, okay, and everybody gives ideas, and then we came up with this. And so we have no idea how it's going to totally pan out, or what else we're going to add, or how long it's going to go, or any of that. But one of the things we've all learned to do is to actually trust the earth, trust the universe, and move on. I love it. What if the birds create the hurricane? Love that. Exactly. And so many things. And also, I want to acknowledge there are so many of you who have so much information. And I also want to say thank you all for all of the beautiful posts around this beautiful planet. I was just looking through the posts and just soaking it all in, and I was like, oh man, what a beautiful planet we live on. And it's like one of those wonderful, rare people that you meet that has such stunning physical beauty, and even more than that is the beauty of their being. That combo that you very seldom find in the world because of the way the world is arranged and all that, whatever all that is, whatever. But this earth, in addition to its stunning physical beauty, one of the most beautiful gifts of being. And so I know a lot of you will be contributing things like different movies and different books and that sort of stuff. And what I'm going to ask of everybody is, this is a place to interact from what will create greater, not a place to put forth any fixed point of view. Okay? Just saying that, laying down the ground rules of that. And from what I've seen, I may not even need to say that, but I just want to have that out there from my lips. Because I'd like this to be a space of us being the gifts that we are. And it already has been from my point of view. And I thank you all for that. I thank you for the gift that you are. And tonight, remember, relax and maybe watch another video or two. And the three that I mentioned were A Life on Our Planet, Kiss the Ground, and Forest Man, and also my octopus teacher. But there's a list at the very top of the Facebook group with a lot of the movies that we were suggesting. So we're going to do movie week, we're going to do podcast week, we're going to do exercises week, we got all kinds of stuff planned for you. So just come, play, and truly, I say again, thank you for being part of this group. And what can we all create together? And I'm going to ask you to contribute to a couple of things tomorrow, but right now I'd like to, a lot of you know how to do this, but some of you don't. I'd like to show you how to do something called a 1, 2, 3, and you can use it on anything. It's basically just like a burst of energy, like an atom bomb, where you just gather all the energy you can and go boom. Okay? So what I'm going to ask is on excuse me, on 3 to contribute to everything that would allow us all to be in communion with the planet and end the separation. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, well kids, that's how to do a 1, 2, 3. Not like there's a lot of education involved. It's part of asking you shall receive being a reality. And tap into whatever you get contributes to you, but it's really just an ask and using that to actualize it. Okay, beautiful people, thank you. I hope this live has been a contribution. I look forward to being with you tomorrow, and we'll go over a couple of specific things of contribution and see where else we go after that. Time for that tomorrow, thank you for asking, is 10:30 my time. So 5.5 hours earlier than this one. Okay, so it's 10:30 Houston time tomorrow morning. What else is possible, beautiful people? I very much look forward to seeing you on a live tomorrow. Mwah. Thank you. Bye-bye.